In this episode, I'm going to be talking about 10 ways of how to not suck in design. It's pretty much kind of things that I've learned throughout the years, and they're not in any particular order, but I think you'll enjoy this one. Stay tuned. All right, very good. So the first one I wanted to talk about is taking critiques or criticisms from people when you're showing your design work. So as you're showing your design work, people are going to be giving you feedback and letting you know what they think from their perspective. And it's important to try not to be too sensitive. I know, even speaking from my own perspective, designers could be somewhat sensitive because, it's our work and we, try really hard to do a good job and things like that. But it's important to try to learn from these critiques or criticisms as much as possible and really try to hear them out and hear their perspective and see what we can learn from what they're saying. Most likely what they're saying is there's a good reason why they're telling us what they're telling us. So just pay attention and see what you can learn from it. And also, just because somebody's telling you something or criticizing you or giving you some information doesn't mean you necessarily have to change anything. You made your decisions because of your reasons, and it's just something to think about. If they're telling you something, it's just something to digest and see how you can make some adjustments, or maybe even make the version that they're talking about and the version that you're talking about. It's always good to do multiple versions and actually test them out and see what the users think. So just something to think about. The next thing I wanted to talk about was not getting married to specific programs or apps. So like if you're really into using Sketch or Photoshop or Figma or Adobe XD or any of those programs, don't get married to the program. Get more, have your process, because for example, right now I'm using Figma and I'm, really love it. And before that I used Sketch for however 4 or 5 years. And before that I used Photoshop for like 10 or 15 years. So these programs are constantly changing and things are going to be changing all the time. But it's important that you have your process locked down and that you're able to do good work regardless of whichever program you're using. Because the truth is, if a brand new program comes out tomorrow or a month from now, you'll change and abort the current program that you're using if you're able to accomplish your tasks faster. So again, it's really important to have your process locked down and not necessarily the program that you're using. The next idea that I wanted to share with you is read lots of books. It's important to read books because people put a lot of effort and there's a lot of information that gets put into these things. And as you're reading the books and you're looking at the letters, you're able to digest the information. The information gets digested and really sticks in your head compared to like watching a movie or something like that. Yes, you will get instant gratification if you watch a movie, but then you'll quickly forget everything that you kind of saw. I know sometimes it could just be like meaningless. Really, you want to like kind of try to read some books that are good, kind of good for your career, or just like an interesting story, or just kind of see how people went through things like that. But it's just really good to exercise your mind because it will help you with design as you read more books. Another idea is it's important to always be adding new tools to your tool shed, meaning you should at least weekly be learning some kind of new tool, whether it's video editing or some kind of new design editing tool that you haven't used before, or some new technique of doing something in your current tool that you're using. It's important to just constantly be adding those tools to your tool shed, because people are graduating from school. There's all kinds of competition around. There's all kinds of designers out there, whether you're a junior designer or an experienced designer. You always want to be adding new knowledge and constantly updating the current knowledge that you have. That way you can stay above everyone else and you can be really, really talented. Another idea I wanted to talk about is dissecting other people's designs. So if you're using an app and you see something really interesting, or the way they're handling a navigation, or some kind of way that something's scrolling, or an interesting looking button, or if you're on a website and you see that website is doing something really interesting with also navigation, or there's something sticky, or just something really interesting, take a screenshot of that screen and throw that into your app of choice and try to replicate that design, or maybe take certain elements from it and see how you can kind of replicate it and really digest it and just kind of break it apart and see why they're doing and why this is working so well. See why you're fascinated with that design. Why do you actually like that design? Is it something with the colors? Is it a certain angle that they're doing something? Is it the way that they have the buttons laid out? Is it the spacing? There could be all kinds of things. And breaking it apart like that and kind of redesigning it yourself, you can take these little pieces and use them for your own projects with your own clients or with your own companies. So just something to try. Whether you're an experienced designer or a junior designer, you already have a process in place. Whether you have that process written down somewhere or you just have it in your mind, you have a process, trust me. But what I suggest doing is actually writing down your process. You can do it with bullets, and that way you kind of have stuff written out, and you have like the first beginning, you have some kind of project, then you ask different information about the project, then you start doing quick little sketches, then you show those little sketches, then you see what they think, then based on those sketches, you can start doing some high fidelity designs depending on what kind of design it is, something like that. That's just a quick example of documenting it. And then also you might have a prototype after and things like that. Then you have this process written down, so then you can easily kind of have that, so you can show it to other people, and you can kind of share it and kind of share your process, and you could see like, and somebody else can tell you, hey, I like that process, this might be a little bit unnecessary to do this part, or maybe like they can show you how they do process. It's just good to have that documented. And since you have your process documented, now you can show, like I mentioned, you can show those documents to other people, and you can actually teach other people how you do things. And that's the next thing I want to talk about, is teaching other people, because that feels really rewarding and feels very positive. Like, teach something how to do something, right? Like, teach them a certain tool that you know how to use really well, or a certain technique that you're really good at, or kind of like a certain way of doing shadows, or a certain way to do gradients, or just like little things like that, or maybe some balance, hierarchy, different things in design. But it feels really, really rewarding to teach other people and really to give back. Similarly to kind of like this video that you're watching right now, you can even try something like that. Maybe make a quick little video. Maybe you're not so much into that, but just something to try. It doesn't have to be a video. It could be like a one-on-one or something like that. I promise you, it will feel really, really good and rewarding. It's really important to be able to balance the time that you're looking at inspirations. Yes, when we're researching and we want to see how to do something, or seeing what the trend is for a certain thing, we want to look at Dribbble, we want to look at Behance, we want to look at Google Images and places like that. Yes, it's good to look at all that stuff, but don't take too much time doing that, and don't compare yourself to other people. You don't know the kind of stuff that they've gone through, how many years of design they've done, or maybe they have 10 people involved with doing that design. Maybe it was a whole team of doing it. But really, just take some time, do a little bit of research. Don't do more than like 15-20 minutes of looking at different inspirations, and then just try, and then get off the computer and try to do a couple of these designs yourself, and just see what parts you got inspired by, and just take some of these ideas and make them your own. It's really important to set up some alone thinking time. You want to go and just kind of like zone out for a little bit and really just take that time and think about whether it's a project or your life or something like that. You just want to take some time, maybe even add like a schedule in your calendar for a half an hour or an hour, and just really take that time, go somewhere in your balcony or somewhere in the fresh air, and just think about things. Just take some time for yourself and really just dedicate that time just for your own thoughts. And it's really good to do that. So I kind of do that when I'm running. I go for like maybe a run, like a few miles around the blocks. I just come and I go around, and I just kind of think about how I can improve a certain project I might be working on, or kind of what I can add to it, or maybe what I can make it a little more minimum. There's different thoughts I think about as I go for my run, and it's like a little routine I have, and it's just important to have that time dedicated, or to have some time dedicated for thinking. And lastly, I wanted to mention the language that we use with other people. We have to be really careful with the type of language that we use, and we have to make sure that the language that we use is descriptive and explains our thoughts. So somebody might ask you something like, hey, what do you think about this design? And you might say something like, oh, it looks great, or oh, it looks cool, or oh, it looks dope, or something like that. And these are just like one word sentences, which obviously means something positive, and it means that it's in a positive direction, that you like it, but you really want to give more descriptions. You want to explain, why does this look good? Why do you like it? Why do you think this works better rather than something else working better? You want to give these kind of detailed explanations and descriptions, so you can come across as, that you know what you're talking about, that you're able to kind of like, sell your ideas and kind of things like that. And those are kind of the 10 ideas I wanted to share with you. I hope you've enjoyed this video and got something out of it. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, feel free to subscribe to my channel, because I'll be posting more videos like this, and I have a lot of other interesting videos that I've already posted. And also, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button, as I'd appreciate that. And I'll see you in my next video. Have a good one. Bye.